All right, guys, welcome back. We're going to go over the independent practice, which was on page 277 to 278. Why did I make it 288? I have no clue. And my sevens look like twos, or my twos look like sevens. Hard to tell. But either way, you had to do 1 through 11 odd. That means you had to do 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. I'm going to give you the answers first, see how you did. If you got them all right, great, you understand this. Not a problem. Number 1 is 2/15. Number 3 is 2 2/3. Now 3 is one of those house problems, meaning it's really hard, so if you got it, excellent. Number 5 is 1/6. Number 7 is 3/8. Number 9 is 3/10. And number 11, I wrote the word varies because with that problem you had to make up your own problem based on a situation. So all of you might have done something different. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure all of you did something different. So here we go. Let's start with the basics. The first few are pretty basic, pretty straightforward. Number 1, 1/3 times 2/5. The directions, by the way, say multiply, write in simplest form. Do not forget to simplify. Okay, I'm going to do a little cross check. Can I simplify? No, I can't. So numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. I have an even number and an odd number, and 2's prime, so I can't simplify this. It's done. Number 1 is, that's it. Number 3, 2/3 times 4. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and do the equation. I'm not going to draw a negative model. The first thing you should do, before you forget, change the whole number to a fraction, put a 1 under it. I already explained to you why in the last lesson, so let's not make a big deal out of it. All right, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. 8/3. That is an improper fraction. You cannot leave that on the quiz. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It still tells you what you need to know, that you're making sets of 3, you have 8 pieces, but by definition, a fraction is supposed to be something less than 1. This is more than 1. Okay, that's why they call it improper. Okay, so we're making sets of 3, you have 8. Don't forget, a fraction is also a division problem, so it's 8 divided by 3. So 3 is the denominator. Remember, always look at the denominator. We're making sets of 3. Out of 8, we can make 2 sets of 3. And 2 times 3 is 6. You have 2 pieces left over. So you have 2 full sets with 2 left over, but you're making sets of 3. Okay, your remainder becomes your numerator. Your divisor becomes your denominator. I'm going to write that 2 just a little darker because it's kind of hard to see what that is in there. 2/3. Okay, and that is the answer. Again, on the quiz, do not leave it as an improper fraction. Change it to a mixed number. It's just division. Okay, and when you have a 0, that means you're done. If you have pieces left over, do not add a decimal point and make a decimal number. You're supposed to leave it as a fraction. All right, keep going, keep going. Number 5. 2/3 times 1/4. 2/3 times 1/4. 2/3 times 1/4. Quick check. The 3 and the 1 don't have a common factor, but the 2 and the 4 do. I can simplify by 2. They both have a factor of 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1/3, because there's nothing there. 1 stays the same. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. 1/6. Easy peasy. All right, for number 7, it is your first word problem. Now for this one, I will show you an area model just because I need you to see what's going on. Juanita spent 3/4 of her allowance at the mall. Of the money she spent at the mall, half was spent on new earphones. What part of her allowance did Juanita spend on earphones? Okay, all right. Let's do this. So, you know I'm going to do this. I always like to draw little pictures, just stick figures. Okay, here's Juanita. Now, I always draw my little stick figures as girls that are girls with dresses, but you know what, nowadays, does she have to wear a dress? No, it's just me being old-fashioned, so please don't get offended. It's just me being old-fashioned, okay? Juanita could be wearing pants. So there you go. All right, anyways, we're talking about her allowance. Her allowance is money that she gets from her parents, from her grandparents, from family, from friends. Anyways, it's money. So here's her allowance, her money, whatever it is. and it's called her allowance in dollars, I'm assuming. Boy, you know, I can write that neater, right? Guys, these are your notes. The neater you make them, the better you can read them for later. That's good enough for me. I can read them later. But that does say allowance. You know what? If you're copying this, that's an A-N-C-E. Okay. Anyways, OCD, what can I tell you? She took her allowance. It says 3/4 of her allowance. So that means she took her allowance and she broke it up into 4 parts. Okay? She took 3/4 of her allowance and she spent half on new earphones. Okay. So this is what she spent. Money spent. Okay. 3/4 of this, of her allowance, not all of it. Money still saved, I guess. Okay. But we're talking about money she spent because you need money to buy stuff. So she spent this, and of this, half went to new headphones. Okay. So what part of her allowance did Juanita spend on earphones? Okay, again. Work with me here. Here's my 3/4. What I should have done was shaded this in first. So there's my 3/4. She divided her allowance in 4 parts. The denominator is 4. That means I need 4 parts. A full set is 4. She then took half of what she spent, which is this, and bought headphones. Now, you're probably saying, wait, you forgot something. Yes, I did. I wanted to see if you'd notice. Because the last thing says, if you look at all her allowance, all of her allowance, the amount she spent on headphones is what fraction of her allowance out of everything. Okay? Okay. So, using what we know, here's my equation. Right? We start with 3/4. We want half of that. Now let's take a step back even further. This is less than 1. This is less than 1. As it starts, we have something that's less than 1. And we want even less than that. Okay? I want you to make, well, let's just look at the drawing here. Remember, part to whole. Part to whole. After doing what we just did, we start with 3/4. So originally we had 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's including the ones that's still saved, right? 3/4 was spent, 1/4 was saved. But it's still a set of 4. A set of 4. We spent 3. Now, we took half. The denominator is 2. That means each piece now becomes 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Even for the part that's not spent. 1, 2. How many parts is that now? Well, we just counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8. 8 parts. But how many parts do we actually have? The whole is 8. 8 pieces. But how much do we actually have? 1, 2, 3. Again, where they mix. The pencil and the marker. It's 3/8. And look at the math. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 2 is 8. That's why this works. Okay? I think we have time to do one more. There we go. Number 9. Homeroom 101 and Homeroom 102 share a hallway bulletin board. If Homeroom 101 uses 3/5 of their half to display work, what fraction of the bulletin board is used to display Homeroom 101's work? Okay. Okay, you know what? Okay, what are you drawing? I'm imagining a classroom, a school with 2 doors, right? This is for room 101. And the other one is for room 102. Guys, when it comes to word problems, please don't attack the numbers. Make a story out of this. What's going on? What do you see? Okay? If you do that first, it'll No, and I was gonna say it'll stop you from making a mistake. It won't initially stop you. You can still do all the drawings, all the pictures in the world, but you still might make a mistake. But your chances are decreased, okay? You see me make plenty of mistakes. It's okay. There's no shame. But I do like to prevent it if I can, so I'm doing this. So, a bulletin board. Here's my bulletin board. Okay. This bulletin board is shared between the two classes. Half is for room 101, half is for room 102. Okay? Now we're going to talk about room 101. So this is their board. All right. And I'm just going to put a half there. Half the board belongs to 101, half the board belongs to room 102. But 101 says, hey, we're going to use 3/5 of what we have for artwork. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take our half and use 3/5 of it to make artwork. So again, look at the denominator, 5. Now we need to cut each piece in a set of 5. 2, 3 is, that's okay. Yes? And normally we'd stop there, but here's the deal. Remember, we got to talk, we're taking this whole board. The denominator now is 5. That means we got to even kind of do the same thing to room 102. We're going to cut that half into 5 pieces. But we're only talking about 101. Why am I doing this? Because, again, the question is, what fraction of the bulletin board is used to display homeroom 101's artwork? Okay, we only need 3 parts of this out of the 5. Okay, 3 out of 5. Okay, let's see what we have. Keep in mind, part to whole, part to whole. You saw the half earlier. That was easy to see. 1 part out of 2, 1 part out of 2, no problem. But when we take this 5 and say, now I want each piece to be 5, how many parts are in the whole now? Everything, including room 102. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what? I'm going to write the numbers down. Hopefully you can see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That makes sense. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we have 10 parts. That's our whole. Our whole is 10 parts. But how many do we actually have? Okay. Now, I'm going to do something so you can see something. The question then is, here's my pencil mark. Out of the 5 parts, I only shaded in 3, right? And just to continue the story, it blends here. Only 3 parts actually blend. So the answer is 3/10. Now, if you want to do the equation, we have half. We start out with half. Room 101's board. And I only want to use part of this. I don't want to use the whole board. I want to use something less than 1. I want to use part of the board for this artwork. Okay, I don't have to take nothing to simplify. It's good. And there it is. 3/10. Okay, you saw why this works. I just showed you. Okay, this came from this. Okay. All right, number 11 is a situation where you have to create your own problem. Okay, so we have this bar diagram. It's not perfect, but you should have page 278 if you want to check it out. The deal is, this person has $100. It could be you. You can pretend to be, it'll probably be somebody else. It's fine. This person has $100. Okay. And they took out the bar diagram looks like this. The $100 got cut up into 4 parts. Okay. So each part will be like 25, 25, 25, 25. I hope you can see that. Okay. But the bar diagram looks like this. You have a bar cut into 4 parts, and we're talking about money, $100 for the whole thing, right? But then we have in one of these cut up even more into 5 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. and then you have a little question mark here on the inside. Okay, so you have to make a problem based on this. So again, the idea is you have $100, yes? You cut it up into 4 parts. 3 parts are used, not used. That's up to you how you want to create your problem. This part means you definitely used it, and you cut up into 5 parts. Now, when I say used it, it can be you use your imagination. Did you split the money up into friends, family? So I kind of went ahead and did the math a little bit, and you kind of already see it. If $100 is cut up into 4 parts, you have 25, 25, 25, and 25. But if you cut 25 into 5 parts, now you have, hope you can see it, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. I hope you can see that. Now, the goal here is to create a new problem based on the situation. Okay? Now, the book gives the answer like the following. I'm not going to write this down because I'm afraid you might copy it. So just listen up and ask me questions if you have any questions for tomorrow. Olivia withdrew 3/4 of her savings. Okay, so the problem saying is Olivia took this money, and just took it out. She used it for whatever reason. Okay? But then she had this money left. She had $25 left. Right? So she used 1/5 of what was left to buy a book. If you had $100 in savings, how much did she spend on the book? Okay. So again, the example they're giving you is Olivia had $100. She spent 3/4 of it, and with what was left, she used 1/5 of what was left to buy a book. If she had $100, how much did she spend on the book? And then you have to draw an area model to show that, right? With the fractions I just gave you, and then draw an area model as well. Equation, area model. So give it a shot. I mean, I can give you some more examples, but I think just use your imagination. Again, the important part is a bar diagram representing $100 got cut up into 4 parts, right? 3 untouched or spent. 1 part was used or cut up, however you want to look at it, right? And I showed you the money part, 25, 25, to help you out with the math. And then if this $25 is cut up into 5 parts, each one's 5. Can you make a story out of that? That's the challenge. Okay? Don't be afraid to try.